Welcome back. So tonight, I wanted to do something that I haven't done in a little bit, so it's a little bit divergent from what I've been doing, but I have done it before and had a lot of fun with it. So here we are again for it. I want to talk today about Mismatched, and honestly, even though I haven't talked about like a TV series in a while, it still pretty well relates because I'll be reviewing some of the writing-esque things that go on in it, like I usually do with like book reviews and stuff. But also, as it turns out, this TV show is based on a book that I read earlier this year, which I do not have a copy of because I got it from the library. But it turns out that it's based off of When Dimple Met Rishi. So I'm very excited for that. I actually found Mismatched on Netflix and just like read the synopsis and either completely missed that it said Dimple and Rishi in it, because I'm pretty sure I read one at one point that did, or like some of the synopsising did not have it and some of it did. I don't know, maybe I was looking at like an episode synopsis by the time I saw their names. In any case, I did not realize it was about them. I even watched like the little preview clip that Netflix does for the show and didn't get any of the Dimple and Rishi, but I was like, this sounds fun, and I like Bollywood type stuff. So I clicked on it and I started watching it, and almost immediately we get this narration starting from Rishi, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is an adaptation of When Dimple Met Rishi. Oh my gosh. So if you have read the book, it is a little different because the book is set in California, and Dimple and Rishi are like Indian American, basically. And they've been living like in America their whole lives and have that going on, whereas the TV show takes place in India. So still a lot of the same ideas going on, but some interesting twists that they made to the plot line of the book, which I don't know if that's just they wanted to change some things up because they were adapting it for TV and thought that would be better, if maybe some of it relates to the fact that it's set in America in the book versus set in India in the show, and maybe there are some differences like culturally that needed to change for that. I don't know. But overall, I had a lot of fun with it. I binged it really fast. It's only 6 episodes too, so if you want to go binge it, it's a fun short little one. Yeah, I will say it surprised me how they changed up some of the characters. Like in the TV show, now Rishi has this best friend who's a girl who's like his go-getter kind of person and trying to be like his wingman, I guess, to win Dimple over. Dimple still has her kind of crazy roommate who's got some friends who are in the in crowd, but the naughty crowd. Naughty is probably a bad word for it. With like the cool crowd who are doing obnoxious things like drinking and smoking and sex and whatever. And so there is like that scene from the book where Dimple goes to like a dinner and those guys are being obnoxious to her and stuff there. In this version, though, part of it is that Dimple plays League of Legends, and the like super cool dude character, he also plays League of Legends as like rank 12 in League of Legends in India. All that kind of stuff, so he's always like trash talking her playing video games at all and things like that. And so that's going on in it. And then Rishi just kind of shows up. He kind of got invited, but he also just kind of shows up. And that was how I felt about a lot of his actions, honestly, in the TV show. Like, in the book, you're switching perspectives between Dimple and Rishi all the time, and you're getting, like, how these storylines are connecting and why they keep ending up in these coincidental situations together. Versus the TV show, not so much doing that. This TV show also took an interesting narrative route, in that basically each of the episodes was kind of narrated by a character. Not just Dimple and not just Rishi, but like others of the main/side characters would like take an episode. But at the same time, it wasn't like the narrative is just from that character's perspective. It was still very heavily Dimple and Rishi storyline, but just with some weird like little narrative bookends from this other character who was experiencing things that were going on at the same time. And I didn't really understand that decision at all. So, like, it wasn't a bad idea, but I feel like in other stories I've seen it done better, where it is that you're more seeing, yes, Dimple and Rishi, or whoever the main romantic characters are, like, still happening, but they're often in the background, so this other character can have their own main plot line within the episode, and that didn't quite happen. They tried to pull it off, but it didn't quite hit that way for me, at least. So that was one of my bigger, like, consistency issues with the story. But jumping into some spoilery things, because this is part of what I really want to talk about. So there's that group of cool kids, and in this version of the story, they're still like trying to make an app and stuff. They even reference the app that Dimple wanted to do in the book, which was like a health app to help her dad track his diabetes, I think it was, and stuff. And in the show, that idea got like tossed down. I was like, that's a whatever idea. And Dimple is then trying throughout the story to be like presenting an idea that the teacher will let her produce as an app. And instead of it being that they were like paired beforehand and they could have requested partners like in the book, the teacher just assigns them. And I thought that it was going to still be a Dimple and Rishi thing. But no. Rishi, I think, gets paired with his girlfriend who does the wingman stuff, and then Dimple gets paired with this guy named Harsh, who I think had that same name in the book, but he's one of like the cool kid type characters. And in the book, he was like the only other Indian American in the program, and so they kind of played off of how he was trying to be like super American and completely deny his Indian stuff in that, and they've kind of played into that here too, because Harsh has been living in America and came back for this program. I forget all the exact reasoning and stuff, but he talks like mostly in English and stuff because of that, things like that. And so you think he's just going to be kind of one of these bratty cool kids, just like he was in the book. But again, as I said, spoilers, he ended up being like my favorite character in the series. He ended up being really sympathetic and empathetic, and every time stuff's going on with Dimple, he just wants to like support her through it overall and does some really sweet things for her that she doesn't always even notice. But he's there, and it's adorable, and I'm like, I know this is based on when Dimple met Rishi, so it's supposed to be Dimple and Rishi, but I really want Harsh to win. And then we get to episode 6, and everything is going down the tube. All these dramatic things are happening, and I'm like, how are they going to resolve all this? Because I didn't realize that I was on the last episode of the season, for one thing. But I was like, how are they going to tie all this up? There's still so many plot threads. I don't know what they're doing. And then when we hit the end of the episode, Dimple and Rishi have had a huge fight and a huge falling out. And then Harsh is there, and he comforts her in her dormitory, and then they kiss. And I was like, oh, Dimple and Harsh, just like I wanted. And then fade to black. That's the end of season 1. And I was like, wait, I wanted this, but why is this the end of the season? I need more. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out in like a next season. I also really don't want to watch the next season because I loved Harsh so much and I want him to be the winner, and I know since it's based on Dimple and Rishi and their book, that's very unlikely to happen. But that was like my biggest thing with the series. I was just like, oh, I really like Harsh now. He's like my favorite character, and I'm so happy he at least got one good moment with Dimple. So yeah, that was like my biggest thing I wanted to talk about it. With it. But another thing that is also very spoilery, I've mentioned that Dimple and the other bratty guy play League of Legends, and then at one point, to make like the climax of at least this season of the series, we get this challenge of Dimple versus, I think his name was Anmol, and they're gonna do 1v1 League of Legends winner-take-all kind of competition. And I don't even play League of Legends, but I've seen my boyfriend play League of Legends, and as soon as they said it was going to be this 1v1 thing, I was like, but that's not how League of Legends works, and I was so confused. So it was kind of like a hilarious series of events, seeing like even like the little clips and stuff they used. I was like, this is so silly, this is not how League of Legends works. But it was fun and enjoyable overall still. And again, I'm really curious to see what they'll do in the next one, because it did feel like they covered the majority of the book within the 6 episodes too. So like plot-wise, the League of Legends thing kind of took the place of the talent show that was in the book. And the talent show stuff ends like 3/4 of the way through the book. So I really don't know what's going to be in the next season, but obviously there has to be more. Unless they really wanted it to just be harsh at the end, which I wouldn't say no to, but I doubt is where they were going since it's an adaptation of When Dimple Met Rishi. But yeah, there's my thoughts on that. Please, someone else tell me that they've watched this show and have read the book and want to talk and compare them. Please do so down below, because I'd love to have discussions in depth about all of it. All of the changes in the adaptation, whether you think things worked or didn't work, who is your favorite character, all that sort of thing. But I think that's all I've got for now. This is the Umlaut Harper signing out.